Someone called the Premier League a Farmers League this year just because Liverpool won it by so much. I'm not sure that dictates what a Farmers League is. That makes no sense whatsoever.
And also, it's, just mean to farmers as well. Yeah. Leave them alone.
There probably is a Farmers League somewhere where they all play against each other in a big field.
Maybe.
So, that and more coming up as myself and Angelina are here for your Q&A. Did you watch Nico deputise for you last week?
I did. He held the baton. He did good. He did good.
He did. We love having Nico on. Anyway, right, is she starting this week?
Okay, so this is from It's BLXZE. So, do you think Sadio Mane to Real Madrid will happen? If so, which side will he play on, since they already have Hazard on the left?
Ooh, wow, I haven't heard too much about this. I kind of feel like Real Madrid have a few more priorities, namely Kylian Mbappe. When it comes to attacking options, yeah, I guess Sadio Mane would. It all depends on who would be better on the right-hand side, Hazard or Mane.
Yeah.
Like, who would fit as a better option? They're both great players to have. I'm not so sure they'd sign him in the first place, to be honest. I think that with Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo as well, and then you've got Hazard. What Bale's going to do is yet to be seen. And Benzema's definitely taken the central role. I don't think it's going to happen. So I don't think they need to worry too much.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit defeatist. Sorry. Onefootball next saying, if Man City win the FA Cup and Champions League, along with the trophies they won earlier in the season, so the Community Shield and the League Cup, have they had a better season than Liverpool? Ooh.
I mean, I guess it comes down to what does each club define as like a good season. So I guess when you look at it, for Liverpool, winning the Premier League was probably their main priority because they've won the Champions League and they've gone so long without winning the league. So, but then I guess when you look at Manchester City, the Champions League is probably their priority. So I guess more cups equals more success, maybe. So I could see why Manchester City could be considered as being better. But I just think Liverpool winning that league probably going to surpass City's 100 points as well. I just think what that represents and what that means is a lot bigger. So I would probably go with Liverpool have had a better season. But I don't know, there's arguments for both, to be honest.
Yeah, there is arguments for both. I would say the Champions League's a bit bigger by itself. Then when you add in the FA Cup and the League Cup and the Community Shield, and obviously those trophies are worth a little bit less and less and less. Liverpool's fantastic season, they've played well. They've had a brilliant season in, domestically. And because the title would have meant to them, but for me, there's no way that it's more successful than Man City. If Man City are taking home 4 trophies, including England's biggest cup and the biggest trophy in world football in terms of European competition, I mean, Liverpool won the league. Yeah, Man City won the league last year, and they still managed to win the FA Cup and the League Cup as well. So just winning one trophy, from a Premier League perspective, they've been unbelievable. Yeah, but 4 trophies is better than 1. I think, simple maths.
True. Okay, so next up, this is from YT. So, with talk of Thiago to Liverpool heating up, how well do you see him fitting in, and would he be better at another club?
This is a really interesting one, Thiago to Liverpool. I think he's an upgrade he's a better passer than all of them. We'll look at the main 3 of Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and Henderson. My problem is I'm not quite sure where Thiago fits in. I don't think he plays as a deep line playmaker, right? He's not going to be alongside Fabinho. Liverpool aren't going to have 2 deep players, one of them the defensive one of Fabinho and Thiago in the passer. But Thiago moving further forward, I don't see him with the energy and the box-to-box all-action play that Wijnaldum and Henderson bring.
Yeah.
And lastly, he's not a better defensive midfielder than Fabinho, doesn't do the defensive work that Fabinho does. So even though he's a better footballer than all 3, I'm not sure where he fits into the system. I mean, the weaker and weak is a bit of a harsh word. The one of the three to leave would be Wijnaldum out of those three. Jordan Henderson's club captain. I think he's actually quite a unique player, and I don't think he's the one to be kicked out of the team. And Firmino's been the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League, and again, he's not been kicked out by Thiago. So Thiago would fit into Wijnaldum's role, but yeah, he's nowhere near as much of a box-to-box, all-action, arriving late, goal-scoring, Genie Wijnaldum kind of player. So, yeah, I don't see him fitting in.
Yeah.
You'd sign him because he's a great player to have in your team because he's brilliant, but I don't think he's going to fit in at Liverpool.
There you go, then.
I don't know. I'm not
I do know what you mean. I get, like, where would he fit, and obviously, like you say, age-wise and stuff, is he going to be more of a kind of sitting on a bench and coming on, but is he going to be particularly happy with that?
But then he's too good to be sat on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's catch-22.
Yeah, they've got enough. They're all right anyway, I think.
Michael Davidson says, talking Liverpool, will Liverpool buy or sell any starting players this summer? And if so, will they still walk away with the league? Love the content. Best football news there is. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. Buy or sell? I mean, obviously, I guess not necessarily starting players, but your likes of Shaqiri, Lallana, etc. obviously will be going.
They're going to go.
I know that there's rumours, but I don't really see anybody leaving at the moment. I think, you know what, maybe in a couple of seasons, this team may start to disperse, but I think they're going to want another Premier League next season. So I think they're going to stick together, and I think that they'll do it. I think if they were to sell anybody, again, I really can't see anybody leaving. If it's like the odd person, I would be still be quite shocked, but I don't think one or two is going to majorly derail this entire team. Buying players, obviously there is rumours, but at the moment I don't really... I'm not looking at them thinking they desperately need A, B, C and D, because look how fantastic they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that they will win the league next season. I don't see many people leaving or coming in, because if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
Thing.
I think the one position they were talking about was a centre-back.
Yeah.
If Lovren leaves, because that just leaves, Gomez and Van Dijk obviously the top two. Maybe someone better than Gomez, but apart from that, yeah, why are you going to... If it isn't broke, exactly, do not fix it.
That's fine. Okay, me next. So this is from Suresh Babu Puthan Vital. Sorry if I got that wrong. So, if Dortmund want to win the Bundesliga, which department do you think they should work on more?
That's an interesting question, because it's not down to Dortmund. It's just how good or bad Bayern are.
Yeah.
I mean, Dortmund, for all intents and purposes, they're a very good team. I think they're very strong in every position. Losing Hakimi is obviously a big one. So I think right back would be the position, for them to find someone new. And if they lose Jadon Sancho, Michel Zorc has already said that they'll definitely be looking at replacements should they lose Sancho, so another attacking wide player. But aside from that, they've got Haaland up front. The pivot of Witsel and Chan is brilliant in the midfield. Even with Dahoud and Delaney behind them. Brandt, Hazard moving forward. Guerrero's brilliant. I think maybe they could do with another centre-back alongside the likes of Hummels and Akanji. Sorry, I forgot his name there. Yeah, I think they're a very good team, Dortmund. It's just unfortunate that Bayern are amazing and getting better.
Yeah.
That's a slight issue for them when it comes to winning the Bundesliga. I mean, obviously they can do better on the pitch, especially when, they got slated with all this mentality nonsense and Marco Reus coming out of the media saying it's nothing to do with mentality or this kind of stuff. But yeah, I think from a player perspective, on paper, they have a phenomenal team. And with one or two more, they could be better. I don't know. It's going to be down to consistency to win the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've got the team for it already. Trollface next, what a name, says, hottest opinion, the Championship, the English Championship, is more entertaining than the Premier League.
See, I've had this discussion before, and I can see why people do think this. I guess in some ways, the Championship is still an important league, still a lot of great teams and great players, but I guess I always feel like there's not as much pressure, because there's still pressure obviously to get promoted or relegated, but there's not as much hype over like, oh, who's going to be playing in Europe, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes it gives them a little bit more, I don't know, like free reign to just like, I don't know, just play good football.
Outside of England.
You what, sorry?
You're saying the spotlight's not on them so much?
Yeah, I think so. But I can understand that, because it's still very competitive. As in, you know, you've got the likes of Leeds that have been trying to get promoted for so long.
Yeah.
You've got the playoffs, which are always really exciting. So I can see why it is more entertaining for people that maybe aren't too fussed about like who's going to get into Europe or big names. If they just want kind of like raw good football with no kind of drama or distractions, I can see why it's more entertaining 100%. Whether I think that, I like them both. I don't really have an issue. Obviously, if your team's in the Premier League, you're going to think that's more entertaining.
The problem is, and like I agree the Championship's more entertaining, but it's because teams get promoted. The whole reason people don't find the Premier League interesting is because the same teams win it every year, and all the best teams are at the top. But in the Championship, the best team can't win it every year, because if you're the best, then you're promoted to the Premier League. So technically, there are 3 new best teams in the Championship every year.
Yeah.
Because the 3
which is more entertaining, I guess.
Which technically makes it more entertaining. Also, the games are more frequent. You know, there's 46 games, 24 teams. Yeah. I do think it is very exciting, and there always seems to be one team that no one really expects to do well when they sort of burst into the playoffs, and the playoffs themselves are very exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Championship is more exciting from a change point of view, because there's new teams every year. 6 new teams every year, in fact, because of the ones promoted from League One. I mean, it's hard to disagree with it. Our teams are in the Premier League, so we're going to be more biased towards it. But I totally get it. I totally get why.
Yeah, I mean, if your team's in the Championship and like a Leeds situation where you're getting closer and closer each season, and like the hype and the build up to that to getting promoted must be fantastic.
Yeah, but also if you're a Leeds fan, you don't love the Championship so much that you don't want to go up.
Yeah.
No one's that mad.
Yeah. Right, okay, next up, this is from Shambhavi Fadnis. So, can Coulibaly solve Barcelona's defensive problems? If not, where would he fit perfectly? So he has to fit perfectly. Okay.
Oh, he has to. Yeah, I think on the face of it, he would solve some of Barcelona's problems just because he's a really good defender. I just think he's better than Umtiti. He's better than PK. You know, is he better than Longley? Probably, yeah. He's better than him. Better than Todibo, who I think might be leaving anyway. I'm sure I'm missing someone out here. Is Vermaelen still there? No. Someone like Coulibaly is a better defender than what they've got, so he would be better, but I think maybe some of their problems are more than just that. I'm not sure they can be fixed by just one player. It's weird. I think when you think about someone fitting in perfectly, like we spoke about Thiago, or an attacking player, we always think about systems and how they're going to fit in with the rest of the players around them, blah, blah, blah. For me, and although there is differences in defenders fit in easier.
Yeah.
Obviously, if the formation is different, and if you're in a back 3 or a back 4, whatever, then that I can understand. Majority of teams play a back 4. Napoli play a back 4, so do Barcelona. If you're putting a centre-back into the centre-back role and it's stop the other team from scoring, defend well, head the ball, keep it under control when you're passing it like we know Koulibaly can do, there's nowhere that he wouldn't fit in. I can't see him being better or worse at defending if he played at City, Barca, Real Madrid or Liverpool. He's still got the attributes to be a top defender. Yes, you're talking about how they build up from the back and play football and this and that and the other, which I think he can do because he's great on the ball. But yeah, in terms of defending wise, he'd fit in because he's such a good defender. I mean, the system of a flat back 4 rarely sort of changes to the point where it can completely throw a defender's game off. It can change ever so slightly, but it rarely changes to the point where, like we said before, if suddenly Sadio Mane finds himself on the right-hand side of a 4-4-2, is vastly different to what he's used to than being on the left-hand side of a 4-3-3 at Liverpool. But no, I think Coulibaly would fit in anywhere. I don't think he'd solve everyone's problem at once.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. Ryan Yowell next says, what happened to the Moussa Dembele rumours? And the Lyon striker, not the now the former Belgian midfielder. It seems like only a month ago he was linked with clubs like Tottenham, Man U, Barca, Chelsea. Do you think he will leave Lyon this transfer window?
Yeah, I guess things have gone a little bit quiet on him. I guess the main reason I would think is that obviously we've been seeing other players playing. We've not seen him because obviously the French league was kind of ended and PSG were giving it. So yeah, I assume that's the main reason because obviously rumours are fueled by, if a player's playing well, then 9 times out of 10 there's going to be a report that somebody's after them. Certain clubs that I can see him being linked with, definitely. I think there's rumours at the moment that Arsenal are after him. Do I think he'll leave? I mean, I don't know him personally, so I don't know what his opinions are. Maybe he will want to stay at Lyon. But I can still see, just because he's not been playing doesn't mean that he's still not a great player. So there will definitely still be demand for him. So yeah, I could see him leaving. But again, it's down to money, down to what a player wants, etc. I guess Arsenal, you could kind of see it with the Aubameyang situation, if he's going or not, maybe wanting another player up front that can get goals because they definitely need them. I don't know, could you see Spurs having him?
I think the problem with Dembele and the problem that Spurs face and lots of other teams face is that he is going to move for first team football. That's the problem that every striker faces. And
is he going to get it?
Yeah, he's not going to get it. I mean, everyone knows that whichever striker comes into Spurs is going to be back up to Harry Kane. It looks as though, if he's going to Man United, he's not overtaking Martial or Greenwood or Rashford.
No, Barcelona, I think they're all right.
Barcelona, I mean, Chelsea have now got Werner and Abraham.
Yeah.
That's the problem. If he's going to move, could he go anywhere bigger than Lyon and still be first choice?
Do you class Arsenal as being bigger than Lyon as well?
Yeah, I'd say Premier League to Liga, yes.
Yeah.
Out of European competition for next season now. And yeah, Arsenal are for all intents and purposes fighting for a Champions League spot. I think Lyon are better than them in their league.
But it's a chance to play outside of France.
At the moment, Arsenal are a step up because they're in the Premier League. If Aubameyang stays, Lacazette stays, Dembele's not first choice. They've also got Nketiah, Martinelli. Yeah, that's a difficult one. That's a very difficult one.
Okay, so next up is from Hop Joshkins. So, who has been the best 5 loaned out players this season?
Oh, the top 5. I feel like we did this on the Thursday favourites on the Daily News a few weeks ago. I can't remember who I said. In terms of some that have been brilliant, I think Achraf Hakimi's one of the obvious ones.
Odegaard.
Odegaard? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, yeah, he's been brilliant for Sociedad. I actually think he's going to return for another year. Hakimi was a 2-year loan, but he's been brilliant. Odegaard, I think I think Aaron Moy has been brilliant for Brighton. And really, they've had some really impressive results. I think he made his deal permanent, I believe. But he's really been that kind of spark that has really kept Brighton sort of keeping a little bit of a distance from the relegation zone. So he's been really, really good. Dean Henderson as well in goal at Sheffield United. Yeah.
There's been some good ones.
Really good. So yeah, it's interesting. The market's actually made use of good loans. There's also been some crap ones like Alexis Sanchez, who's been absolutely awful. Who else? I'm thinking of Italy. Chris Smalling's actually been quite a good loan.
Yes.
To Roma. I'll definitely get behind that. So yeah, I mean, there's been some really decent ones. There seems to be more between top clubs now, loans. Probably something to do with offsetting payment up until next year for financial reasons, for FFP regulations. 5 on the spot, I don't know, but I'm definitely going with Hakimi and Odegaard, I think.
Yeah.
Have been fantastic for sure. Harry B is up next saying, is it unfair to call Liga a farmers league?
All this debate of stuff like this, I mean, I can get why people maybe aren't loving it as much as other leagues because there is such a gap with kind of PSG.
Yeah.
So I do get it, but I still don't be tied to leagues. Like, leave them alone. Like, do you know what I mean? You're still seeing great football. There are still a lot of fantastic players that have come out of the French league. A team like PSG, it's still enjoyable to watch. I get why it's maybe not as exciting, and I get why people will maybe slag it off a little bit. But I think you just kind of have to take it for what it is. I think eventually something's got to give in that teams are going to start catching up one day, you'd like to think. I mean, I guess you look at La Liga, it's still very Barca, Real Madrid, but at one point it was literally just like those two and everyone was lagging behind. Yeah. Teams are now starting to catch up a little bit. It's all about money and stuff, I guess, but you'd like to think maybe at some point something's got to give and other players will be challenging a little bit more. I don't like to sit and slag a league off, but I can understand why people are not crazy about it. But that's the thing,
there are so many unbelievable French players and just players in general who come over from Liga to all sorts of places in Europe and are unbelievable. I think anyone who thinks that Liga is a farmers league doesn't watch it. That is it. The only reason you would call it that is because you don't really watch it and you look at the scores and you think, oh, PSG have won it again, and that's it.
Yeah, there's still great football, and like you say, great footballers that come out of it. So
great football, and if you're really into it, I'm sure it's very exciting. And I think there's some really good teams, and there's some really good players coming through. And this is the nation that bred a team full of World Cup winners. So I mean, their league can't be that bad. But yeah, look, a team with money, like PSG came in and dominated it, and that's kind of about it, really. That's not really anything that the league can do.
I guess if you take away PSG and you just focus on, the next maybe six teams, I'm sure that is still quite competitive, and like you say, it's probably still quite exciting to watch. You have to kind of just forget about who's going to actually win it. I guess it's more like who's going to place in Europe and stuff like that.
The thing is, we hear all the time that the Bundesliga is great, the Bundesliga quality. Look at teams like Freiburg and Gladbach and all this and that. And I'm thinking that's just because you watch the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
On the face of it, if you were a French person who watched the Bundesliga and saw that Bayern had won it every year for the last 8 seasons,
exactly,
you'd probably say, well, hold on, what about Saint-Etienne? What about Montpellier? Or I'm just naming French teams. What about Lille? What about this and that? So yeah, if you don't watch Liga, you probably think it's a farmers league. So yeah, I would hasten to say that you are wrong. And I'd also say that a farmers league made no sense. Someone called the Premier League a farmers league this year just because Liverpool won it by so much. I'm not sure that dictates what a farmers league is. That makes no sense whatsoever.
And also, it's, just mean to farmers as well. Yeah. Leave them alone.
There probably is a farmers league somewhere where they all play against each other in a big field.
Maybe. That's the dream.
Okay. Oh, next one is
right. So next one is from Shivansh A- and a lot of numbers ending in 09. So we've got a very strange quick fire for you. So what would these people be if they were animals? So Lewandowski.
If they were animals, I don't know. An eagle. I feel like eagles have good eyesight, and he's got an eye for a goal.
Cruz.
Tony Kroos. Someone that's quite elegant. A panther.
Okay. Bill Jones.
Oh, the temptation is to say a really odd-looking animal, like a platypus or something.
Neymar.
It's going to be something that dives, right? I don't know, a dolphin.
What are those? Is it like a seagull that dives into the water to get the fish, maybe?
A kingfisher? Oh, no, actually, they don't really dive in. Yeah, maybe a pelican.
Yeah, there we go. And last but not least, yourself.
Me? What would I be if I were an animal? Oh, it's a very good one. I'd go with an elephant. I just have big feet and I'm generally loud, so...
You have a good memory.
And a great memory.
There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd go with an elephant. What a weird thought. Right, last but not least, Angthik Ronghang has said, is the Bundesliga better than La Liga? Ooh, we're spinning it back to the league discussion.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, it's what do you class as better? I mean, both leagues are delivering fantastic football. I guess you would say Bayern is maybe a little bit ahead because they are better than the top teams in Spain at the moment, in my opinion. So I guess you could say that. And then guess people might argue, depends, again, like what you were saying, it depends how much people are going to watch it in depth. I think if you watch them both in depth, you can just appreciate that they are both very good leagues with very good players. Basically. But I think people that maybe aren't watching it as much might think, oh, Bundesliga, it's Bayern and Dortmund. La Liga's a little bit more of a mixed bag because there's maybe 3 or 4. But I don't think I could call and say which one's better. I think you just have to appreciate that they're both great leagues with great football.
There's too many sort of things to look at, like how good are the poor teams? Can teams take points off each other? Who's winning?
It's what you argue race? What makes it better.
Would Dortmund and Leipzig beat Sevilla and Atletico, for example, as the second and third and fourth in the Liga best teams? I guess we'll see. Maybe Bayern will play Barca Real, or there's too much. It's far too complicated. Yeah. All I say, if you don't watch it, then you're wrong, whatever you call it. And if you do watch it, it doesn't matter what people say, because as long as you enjoy it and as long as you enjoy watching the football. Anyway, on that rather happy note, I felt like a bit of a school teacher there. Yes, thank you so much for all of you for watching this. This is better than any league. Thank you for the Q&A questions. As always, every Wednesday night in the YouTube community tab is where you can leave your questions. For myself and Angelina, we'll be back every single Friday with another episode. As always, make sure you leave a like and let us know what you thought of this episode. But until next time, we'll see you guys later.